themselves more capable next year than they are this year, getting to see themselves in the future. To help both your kids and your people, here's what you must learn to do. Number one, help people to see themselves as they are. If people have made mistakes, they got to know it. You can't go on making mistakes and hope to achieve. Mistakes have to be corrected. And you've got to do it with your children. Help them to see themselves as they are. If they've messed up, here's what you've got to say. You've messed up. But here's what's important as a parent. Don't leave them in the mess. Some parents, tell their kids they've messed up and then they leave them in the mess. They don't paint a better picture. Here's what you could become with just a couple of more changes. Rather than this, here's what you could be. So we must help our children see themselves as they are, but here's the greatest gift, to help our children see themselves better than they are. To transport them not only past to see their mistakes, but transport them to the future to see their opportunity. To see the person they can become. My mentor had that greatest gift to help me to see myself better than I was. At first, it was difficult to see. Then I started to believe, and that's how I got here today. He said, one of these days, Mr. Rohn, you'll walk into a room full of people, and you will hear some of them say, that's him, that's the famous man. I said, well, that could never happen to me. He said, trust me. If you keep working hard on the disciplines like you're doing right now, that'll happen. You'll walk into a room full of people, and you'll hear one say, that's him, that's the famous man. He saw it, and he tried to get me to see it. And now finally it's happened. I think when I walked in here today, I think I heard someone say, that's him, that's the famous man. It happened for me. And if it can happen for me, it can happen for you. Just master these skills to inspire. Here's what else I learned, the skills of building an organization. Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. You must be like life itself, respond to deserve, not to need. It doesn't say if you need, you will have a harvest. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll have a harvest. It's not what it says. It says if you plant, chances are good you'll have a harvest. If you plant, you will reap. Not if you need, you will reap. So we must be like life itself. Respond to the people who deserve it by planting, by taking the first step. Even God himself says, if you move toward me, I'll move toward you. That's the condition. You move toward me, I'll move toward you, says the Almighty. Now, he could also say, you don't move, I don't move. You say, well, that's arbitrary. Well, when you're God, you can set it up that way. Now, learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Now, here's what's the next step. Teach people how to deserve your time. Teach people how to deserve your attention. Teach people how to deserve a phone call. Say, Mary, you just take this one step and I take 2 steps. You take 2 steps, I take 5 steps. You don't step, I don't step. But this isn't hard now. You step, I step. You respond, I respond. You try, I try. You make a call, I back you up. Right? Learn to teach people how to deserve your time and your attention. Next, I learned to work by group more than individual. Here's why. 80% of the people do 20% of the business. So 20% of the people you can work with individual, 80% you have to work with by group. But group is very powerful, less confrontational. Then here's what's important for all of you to learn as a sponsor, helping other people. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. And I'm sure all of you have already gotten that experience, even though you've been here a short time. Some people will try to get on your back. That's where we got that expression, get off. That's where we got that. A guy discovered somebody on his back and said, what? I can't carry you, get. Now, if you're like some I see here, 6'4" and you weigh 300 pounds, you might carry one. And if you were really big enough, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something, you might carry 2, but you can't carry 3. When babies are born, they were not designed just to be carried. Babies were not born to be carried all their life. Someday you got to try your legs. Someday you got to try your wings. Someday you got to try. Even if you fall down, you got to try, because you can't just crawl around all your life. You can't be carried all your life. So as quickly as possible, you can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Next, don't expect the pear tree to bear apples. I used to try to change everything. You can hang apples on a pear tree. I'm telling you, it won't help. You can put up a sign, this is an apple tree. Sure enough, come the season, pears. Here's what I learned. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. Incredible. Capital in your business isn't what matters. Okay? It's not the money that buys you a future. It's your skills that buy you a future. Money and no skills, and I'm telling you, you're still poor. Money and no ambition, where are you? Money and no courage, you're broke. A little bit of money and a whole lot of courage. That's all we need. I'm looking for people when I'm recruiting back in those days, and the money didn't matter. What mattered to me was somebody's willingness, somebody's ingenuity, somebody's willingness to try, right? If they had $1 to invest, that was plenty for me. $1 and some ambition, and I can show you how to get rich, and it'll be one of the classic stories of the company. I go to recruit somebody, they say, I don't have any money. See, I've been looking for you for 6 months. Let me show you how to do it without any money. Because here's the rules of capitalism. Got this down. You can either buy and sell, or if you're in certain circumstances, you can sell and buy. If you've got ambition. Now, if you haven't got ambition, we can't cure that, and money won't cure lack of ambition. But if you've got $1 and some ambition, I'll show you how to get rich. And even if you don't have $1, I'll show you how to get rich, because you can sell and buy. Somebody says, as soon as the product arrives, I'll sell it. Then you don't understand. You don't understand the magic of fortune if you say, I have to wait till it gets here to sell it. And you probably don't understand the value of your own story. Once I understood that, I knew I was going to be wealthy. That's why right in the beginning, I started giving big tips. I knew I was going to be wealthy. Say, wow, this guy tips like a rich man. Said, that's right. He tips like a rich man. Even in the beginning, I tipped like a rich man because I knew I was going to be. Isn't this fun? Yes. So jot these phrases down as I close. Number 1, the greatest value in life is not a bank account. The greatest value in life is not a car, a home to live in. The greatest value in life is this. Make a note. Living a good life. In the midst of all of our achieving and recruiting and building and growing, helping other people, being a part of society and the country and the world, being all of this stuff. Here's what you must figure out all of your life, how to continually live a good life. So let me give you my short list. I'll cover the long list the next time I see you. Here's the short list on a good life. Number 1, productivity. If you don't produce, you won't be happy. Here's number 2, good friends. The greatest support system in the world is good friends. You got to work on that. Don't be careless here. Friends are those wonderful people who know all about you and still like you. Here's next, spirituality. I'm not asking you to be a believer. I am a believer that humans are more than an advanced form of the animal kingdom. I'm a believer that we're a special creation. I don't ask you to be a believer, but here's what I do ask. If you are a believer, here's what you must do. Study, practice, and teach. Whatever's valuable to you, study, practice, and teach. Repeat it after me now. Again, study, practice, and teach. Here's why. It builds the foundation that builds the country, that builds the nation, that helps us to compete among the nations of the world in the 21st century. And this is one of those subjects, to study, practice, and teach. Next, my parents taught, don't miss anything. Don't miss the game. Don't miss the performance. Don't miss the show, the movie. Don't miss the words. We're all inspired by the words. Elton John says she lived her life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. You can't miss those lyrics. You can't miss the music. You can't miss the songs that nourish the soul. You can't describe how brief and fragile life is much better than that. George Harrison, one of the Beatles, sings, "If not for you, the winter would hold no spring. Couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue if not for you." You've got to remember the words that reflect the experience. Barbara Streisand sings, "It used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs, you don't say you need me, and you don't bring me flowers anymore." Illustrative of all of our experiences. Winston Churchill said, "The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it and ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is." You got to use that. Feast on someone else's comments. Because see, you could stay up all night and not think of that. I'm asking you to do your research. I'm asking you, don't miss anything. Don't miss the play. When my father was 93, just before he died, if you would have called him at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, he wouldn't be home. He's at the rodeo. And he's watching the kids play softball. He's at church. He's watching the concert somewhere every night. My parents taught me that. Don't miss anything. Even the little small things, don't miss. The big things, don't miss. Don't miss, don't miss. It's part of living a good life. Here's why. Jot this phrase down. It'll serve you well forever. If you live well, you will earn well. If you live well, it'll show up in the texture of your voice. If you live well, it'll show up in your face. If you live well, it'll show up in the magnetism of your personality. If you live well. So don't miss the nourishment of all the things around you that can help you live a good life. Next is the inner circle. Take care of them, they'll take care of you. Inspire them, they will inspire you. Nothing more valuable than the inner circle. That's where the power to conquer the world comes from, the inner circle. If a father walks out of the house and he can still all day long feel his daughter's kiss on his face, he's a powerful man. Nourishment of the inner circle is so incredible. If a husband walks out of the house and all day long he feels the imprint of his wife's arms around his body, he's invincible. Who can touch him? One person caring for another, the old prophet said, is the greatest faith. There's many virtues and values, but the greatest is love, one person caring for another. Better to live in a tent with someone you love than to live in a mansion yourself. People caring for people, and especially that inner circle where the power is so magnificent that if you draw from it, if you nourish it, and then it nourishes you. Now, here's my last comment. Ask for God's help. We could all use a little help. But my whole seminar was what you can do. A man took a rock pile, turned it into a fabulous garden. Somebody came and saw it and said, "You know, you and the good Lord have this fabulous garden here." The gardener said, "I understand your point, but you should have seen it a few years ago when God had it all by himself." So we do play a part. So make this the last note now. We have a chance as human beings to participate in the miracle process. We have a chance as human beings to participate in the miracle process. And you can go do that every day as often as you wish. Changing somebody's life, rescuing somebody from oblivion, building an organization second to none so that your name will appear in many people's testimony. And that's why I came today. So that by chance, I don't need the money. That's not why I'm here. I take the money, but I don't need the money. But here's why I'm here. By chance, perhaps, if I've come along at the right time, I don't know what time this is for you, but if I've come along at the right time, just maybe a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, you might say, Jim Rohn came by and gave us a little piece of information that started me down the road. Here's what's happened to me. And my name might appear in your testimonial. Now, here's the drama as we finish. How many of you have my name in your notes? Here's the part of the drama then. I go with you. When we all leave here and the lights are out and the place is dark, I go with you because you've taken my notes and hopefully some of the spirit, some of the stuff I had besides just the notes. So I go with all of you. But here's the big drama. All of you go with me. See, that's so unbelievable. So as I leave here, I promise not to leave you behind. I will take you with me in my thoughts and in my heart. God bless.
Man, that was powerful. It's powerful every time I hear it, for sure. Hopefully you guys got a lot of value from that. Anyone want to speak on what was their biggest takeaway? Jamal, you want to chime in on that?
I mean, I'll start. What I think I could take from it is something I can apply as a leader is definitely promoting small wins with my team. That's something that I if not just with my team, but with myself. A lot of times we focus on the big wins and the big things that go with it, but we never focus on the small wins that we do have. And the appreciation for those small wins, not just for our team, but for ourselves. So definitely that's one big thing that I took from it. And I'm gonna start implementing that into my processing as well.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Yeah, we can come up with different ways we can go about doing that better throughout the whole team as well. Miss Latoya, did you want to speak on something?
Yes, I did actually. One of my takeaways, and I know it's a problem. I want to be the savior. If somebody needs it, I want to be the one to help them get it. But I feel that putting more energy into that person versus the person that's actually deserving of it, the person that's deserving of my time. And it's working smarter versus harder. And I feel that doing that, I'm trying to pull something out of somebody that may not necessarily want it as bad as the person that's shooting for it. And because in my head, I'm like, okay, they got it. They got it. I got them where I want them to be. So beautiful. Let me work on this person. Not thinking, well, from that great person, from that person that's putting that energy and putting the effort can come another person because they already know what it takes, right? So it can come. We can get another person from that maybe like them or maybe not. You just never know, but they know what to look for. They know what to look for, and yeah. But that's a major takeaway from me, and I know that's my problem. I know that's my problem. I've always had that, but I'm working on myself.
Yeah, absolutely. They always talk about how, you got to focus on the people that's actually excited. That's where the momentum is. Even if a person seems like they got a lot of potential, you can't fall in love with potential, a person's influence. You can sign up a celebrity. And if they're not, engaged in this, they're not going to be of value to you. And you can have someone that come from a rough background with little to no influence, and they become Alfred Nickson. You know what I mean? So you just got to focus on the people that's actually deserving of that time. And you can't just take your, energy away from them. I mean, as long as they're willing, coachable, and hungry, you got to keep them very close to you. I mean, forever till they go all the way to Pinnacle. They can't just go field trainer like you good. It's different levels that you got to, take them with you on the journey. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree 110%.
Daniel, what was your biggest takeaway?
Let's see what I got right here. Like she was talking about learning to work with people who deserve it, not need it, and teach people how to deserve your time and attention. Like she was saying, working yourself, feeling exhausting your bandwidth, trying to keep up with people, versus the ones that are actually trying and spending more time on yourself and those who deserve it. That's definitely a big takeaway I put down there. And then just confirming that, the law of averages, uh, make up in numbers what you lack in skill, just continuously being productive and continuously speaking to people, things of that nature will always help you progress. And then what else I put in there? It's not what happens that changes your life, it's what you do. So just, a lot of this kind of hit home as far as me trying to develop better habits, better day-to-day habits and things of that nature to be successful. So that's what I took from it.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, because like he's saying, we all go through different adversities. Everybody on the call gonna go through something in life, and we're gonna keep going through problems in life. You know, you're gonna have losses, all type of, we all been through things, we're gonna keep going through things. And there's no, you can't really, you know, be deterred from things that's outside of your control. All you can do is focus on, you know, your actions of what you can do moving forward and putting yourself in the best possible position. I mean, at the end of the day, throughout the history of humankind, you got people that done went through some of the most horrific things you can possibly imagine, period, and still found a way to become some of the greatest humans on earth. And they're not different than any of us that's on this call. So it's just all about, you know, taking accountability for your life, because your life is up to you 100%. You know, the where you at right now is just 100% dependent upon the actions you took in the past, and your future is going to be determined upon what you're doing right now.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Did anyone else want to chime in? Kenny, you want to speak on that? What you just posted?
Yeah, I can elaborate. That was something that that stood out to me was and kind of even what Daniel was talking about, like the law of averages. It
Kenny,
sorry, I had a call coming in. Can y'all hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, so it was a few pieces to that, but yeah, just keep going, keep sowing, and not really asking why. Like, there's some things that we will never get an answer to. And if we spend all of our time and energy trying to figure out the why, which is a big thing for me, Jamal knows, he get on to me like, bro, don't worry about that. Just keep going, just keep doing it. And like, for whatever reason, like I struggle, you know, you have a great connection with a prospect, or, you know, someone who's interested or whatever, you know, it fits, it makes sense, it's going to change their life. They're excited. And then when it's time to move forward, either A, you know, they disappear, B, they sign up and still don't do anything. He's like, oh, that doesn't even make sense. Like, this is going to change your life, and you're not going to, you don't do nothing. You just go ghost. And you can spend, you know, so much energy trying to figure that out. And at the end of the day, you may never crack that code, and it doesn't matter. So you just keep sowing the seeds, keep moving forward. And eventually you have to trust that as long as you're sowing good seed, it will take root, it will become fruitful, it will manifest and get you to where you need to go. And if those people decide that they want that for their lives, then they'll have to, you know, go on their journey as well. And then that circled and tied into when they're ready, then you pour into them, you give them the time that's appropriate, as long as they're reciprocating when they deserve it. Not just because, oh, this person really needs this to work for them. Yeah, you can believe that, but do they believe that? Yeah, and so it was just a few pieces to that whole thing, but no matter what, just keep sowing, keep sowing, keep sowing. And so I think that was really motivational to me. That encouraged me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey,
So
Daryl, can I speak on something real quick?
yeah, sure.
Hey, one thing I do want to challenge, because it is really, especially in network marketing, man, some things that I'm learning is that it is really difficult to get frustrated with people. It's super difficult to get frustrated because, one, from you looking from the top down, like, truth be told, like, I want everybody on my team to be super successful. Like, I like Daryl probably knows how much, one of the few people that know how frustrated I get with my team, not for anything personal, but for, man, like, I truly want all y'all to be successful. So I talk to him about it all the time, and he calmed me down. I'm like, but the thing is, what my whole my challenge for myself, and I want to challenge y'all, is find something good, find the greatness in everybody in your team. So, and then let them know about that. So everybody in your team, even though you're frustrated with them, even though you're not, you know, they may not be a top producer, maybe they part of that 80 that's really not doing much, but they giving, you know, they're giving 20% of their effort, but that's the best 20% that they can give. You know, find something that you can compliment them on and encourage them, because then sooner or later that 20% may blossom, they become an 80%. You never know when someone's breakthrough is going to come. They don't know, and you don't know. So let's go in and find what people do well, and and encourage them to keep pushing, keep pressing. Like again, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So continue to keep running. Some people may have to walk sometimes. Don't just cut them off because they got to walk, but encourage them, man. Like, look, I see what you've been doing. I see the effort that you've put in. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. And then like that encourages, like people will run through a wall for you if they just have some kind of appreciation. Number one thing that people are missing in their daily lives is appreciation. But it's also the number one thing that people will actually do anything for somebody if they show enough appreciation toward them. So let's start being very appreciative also, and just find out if it's one thing, find one thing and say thank you for it. If it's they amazing, let them know they're amazing. But let's we do get frustrated. I know I do with my team, but I do, staying right now that I do appreciate y'all. I appreciate people that's not under me, just the encouragement and everything. So I just want to challenge everybody to make sure you're showing appreciation to everybody on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely got to nurture up on your team members. And at the same time, a lot of times it's just timing is not in line with a person. They haven't grown into who they need to be to become them best selves. Some people maybe they haven't went through a certain situation yet. Sometimes people got to hit rock bottom, or it's something in their life that's going to trigger them to catapult them into a higher level. I know me personally, if I would have got on this platform years ago, I wouldn't be ready. I probably would have been an agent that wasn't doing anything. It just wasn't the timing for me. Other things I went in life put me in place to be ready to take off with it now. So, that's what it is. So just you nurture these people as much as possible. But at the same time, basically what he's saying is you got to stay in phase one and run with the runners, like we always speak about. That's what it comes down to. Does anyone else, Gary, did you want to add anything?
I did want to mention one thing. And guys, just know that it's not a reflection on you. I think that's what happens is when the agents and when the people that we enroll, they come in so excited, then they kind of, it kind of fizzles away. Then we take it personal. It is not a reflection on you. Just like Darryl just said, just like Jamal just said, it's not always their time. It's not always their time. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different journey. If they are not in the same place that you are, your actions are going to be differently. How they handle certain things are going to be different. It's just everything is going to be different. But it does not mean that you are not doing your best as a leader in order to get them there. I had a client, a potential agent rather, she called me yesterday. I spoke to her months ago, but she still sees the post. She's like, I just want you to know that I'm still interested. I am going to become an agent. I know now is the time. It's going to happen before January. I know that everything is going to be in a place. I don't want you to think that I'm not a person of my word. So she called me to remind me that she is still there and don't give up on her. And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, I didn't. Actually, you just weren't on my list for me to reach back out to you yet. But still, we want to continue to do it. It's just when it's their time, it's their time. It's not a reflection on you. You just have to continue to keep pushing. It's going to all work out. It always does.
Absolutely. And then before we go into the next piece, just a couple of my notes from the video. I definitely believe in what you lack in skill, you have to make up for it in numbers. I'm gonna tell y'all a story about like when I used to work on Las Vegas Boulevard, right? When I first started working out there, I swear it was very intimidating. It was like people from overseas, these other countries or whatever, super fit, like they were doing the job that I was, started to do, right? And they was killing it. They'll go out and work like 4 hours a day and make $300 to $500 in one day. And I'm coming from small town Arkansas. I'm like, I don't really I'm not that versed. I've never really been in a big city, anything of that nature. I'm like, how can I compete with them in a sense and make the type of money that they making? Starting off, in order to get the best locations with the best prospects, you had to be a top producer or whatever, right? So I remember thinking to myself, like, I know I can't compete with them as far as where they're at. So what I'm gonna have to do is just work longer hours. They used to work 3-4 hours and make hundreds of dollars. So what I did was I had to work like 12 hours a day just to make a fraction of what they made. They work 4 hours and make 400. I have to work 12 hours to make $100. And I kept doing that repeatedly. But like you say, over time, a month later, I could work 12 hours. Then I start making 200-300. Then I start working 12 hours. I would start making the same 400 that they made. And then I kept getting better. And I kept working 12 hours a day, harder than everybody. And I started doubling what they was making. In my last 3 years of doing that job, I became the top producer within the whole company, just from going through enough numbers of getting enough as much experience as possible. And I did the same thing when I started working with UWE. You know, I went through numbers on top of numbers. You guys seen I was getting promoted very fast, but what you don't know, I was going through thousands of leads. I was going through 10 trial runs a day. In order for me to get 10 trial runs a day, I had to talk to hundreds of people to get 10 trial runs a day. I wasn't closing that many people. I just had to keep doing it and to keep getting better and better. You know, it was just a law of averages. And now I'm to the point where I can talk to less people and close at a much higher rate, you know. And as everyone else was mentioning, certain things are just going to happen. And you're not really in the business of being, you know, frustrated upon that. You're going to have people that come in that's not going to do much. That's just what that is. You have people that's not going to sign up. That's just the nature of the business of that's not what you're in business to do. All you have to do is produce and sort and run with the runners, you know. So this is outside of your control. You can't really let it frustrate you. And another thing is, as we speak on all the time, is just, you know, if you're frustrated, it may be because you're focused on selfish reasons, that you're not making enough money or you're not doing such and such. Your job isn't to focus on you. Your job is to be of service of people. So when you're posting with passion, when you're passionate about helping people, when you're passionate about helping your customers, when you're passionate about helping your team, then you're going to help them grow. You know, that was very essential with me building my business, because I helped so many people on my team on the front end not even focus on the direct income. And later, it, like you say, it pays big money. And you know, my income really started to reflect that, just of me being so diligent upon the service of, you know, my customers, of really taking the time to make sure that they seen the results they needed to see, really taking time and being diligent that my agents seen success and they made money, different things of that nature. If you really focus on that and really do that with passion, then, you know, it'll blow your business up. If you're relentless upon helping people. I know it's cliche, but, you know, it's real. Yeah, and then another thing is that ingenuity, you know, trying to be creative. You can't be too focused on, oh, this script and this, because to be honest with you, most of you guys who are on this training, like, you guys got all the information you need. As far as the information I had to go RSD and ESD, you guys got way more. Y'all got all the information I had to go VP. You know, so it's about when you're passionate and you're like really got your foot on the gas and you're really going for it and you're living with purpose, with 100% focus, you automatically start being creative off the rip. If you're not being creative on things, then you're probably really not even into this like that. You're not really that serious about the business. If you really had your mind focused and you was really going for it, truth be told, a lot of the scripts that I use now a lot of things that I do now, that it didn't even exist when I first started. All I knew was I'm getting a VP, period. Whatever I got to do to get there is going to happen with this drive and that ambition. I just automatically start coming up with stuff to get me there. When you just got a goal set and you're forcefully passionate about getting there, you're gonna start getting creative. Just the universe is just gonna start piling things inside of you to help you accomplish the goal by default. You know, and you just got to keep doing it. You got to keep being relentless with it. You can't get discouraged one time. Oh, this person said no, this person counseled, I got a retraction here. You got to keep going for it, you know. And as far as your team, you got to be intentional and on inspiring people, customers, agents, followers, you know, different things of that nature. You want to be very intentional on how you're inspiring people. What are you putting inside of their minds? How are you helping them grow? You need to help yourself grow, right? And then that's going to help you have different things that you can pull from. You want to lead by example as well, you know, and that's how you gain more respect. But I mean, you want to be a influential people. You want to inspire people, but people get inspired by people that they got to be inspired from your actions as well. You can't just always try to speak to people and inspire them and expect them to be motivated. They need to be inspired by people. Look and see what I do and they inspired. I don't even have to speak to them. Are you inspiring people by the actions that you're doing? That's what you can, you know, not only just try to inspire people by your words, but try to inspire people by your actions. You know, so yeah, that's what I have on that. I got Alfred texting me right now. He actually was gonna, okay, perfect. It's gonna be on 15 minutes. We'll just go ahead and go into this next piece. Guys, Stormy Wellington, she's like a top producer within this industry, like top 10, whatever. This lady actually made like $12 million last year. So a lot of ladies on the call, I mean, the sky's the limit. You guys are really at an advantage with this. It's no reason why you guys can't go vice president within the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Absolutely, you know, and she's going over some very beneficial tactics of what she do to see success on recruiting. So definitely have your pen and pad ready.
Stormy Wellington, take it away.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to be here. This is truly a dream come true to be training on the platform with such amazing people. I'm so grateful to be able to lend my contribution to this industry that has absolutely changed my life. I got 15 minutes and it is, what time is it? It's 2:07. So I want to get through my training, but I want to give you guys some meat so that you can be able to implement this information into your business in order to get results. First and foremost, let me say this. I've been in network marketing for 12 years, okay? For 12 years. And my first year in network marketing, I was just really getting my feet wet. Even though I made $1 million my first year in network marketing. And what I would tell you that I've learned from the very beginning to right now today is that you got to be hungry. You have to be very, very, very hungry. And in order for you to take your life and to take, you know, this industry to the next level, you have to see yourself in this industry. You can't just look at other people and celebrate their success. You got to be able to see what.
Stormy Wellington, take it away.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to be here. This is truly a dream come true to be training on the platform with such amazing people. I'm so grateful to be able to lend my contribution to this industry that has absolutely changed my life. I got 15 minutes and it is, what time is it? It's 2:07. So I want to get through my training, but I want to give you guys some meat so that you can be able to implement this information into your business in order to get results. First and foremost, let me say this. I've been in network marketing for 12 years, okay? For 12 years. And my first year in network marketing, I was just really getting my feet wet. Even though I made $1 million my first year in network marketing. And what I would tell you that I've learned from the very beginning to right now today is that you got to be hungry. You have to be very, very, very hungry. And in order for you to take your life and to take, you know, this industry to the next level, you have to see yourself in this industry. You can't just look at other people and celebrate their success.
guys, we want to get back into that in one after the next piece here. So without further ado, I want to help you guys rationalize exactly what's about to happen here. As far as, you know, so much going on with the economy and with the country, different things of that nature. When you have someone that, you know, is really doing great things in the world, as far as like a mentor that can really take your life to the next level, that can transcend and get you to where you're trying to go to at a faster pace, you really want to take heed to that and really be appreciative of that. So guys like Mr. Alfred Nickson, this gentleman is literally going to go down in history of like one of the greatest young Black entrepreneurs of history in this country. You know, he's mastered not only this particular platform of hitting every title within the company. I mean, he's mastered this industry of competing with hundreds of millions of people to the top of the ranks. Like, honor that and you know, be very appreciative of that. So I mean, very busy man. He's literally done trained thousands of lives. He's trained people, grandkids' lives, like literally broke generational curses for future generations to come forever. And this man is very, very, very busy. And we all have the pleasure of hearing from him today. So without further ado, Mr. Alfred Nickson, did you make it on the call okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Cullum, I am here and super excited. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up and kind of get this going. But man, I'm excited for what's going to take place today, man. All of the leaders that's on the call, first and foremost, want to give it back to you and appreciate your leadership for rallying the team together. You know, I believe that this is the time that's in right now is where leaders are born. I found so many of my leaders in the holiday season. Mike Burgos, Bruce Rochester, Valesky Baroque. We found all of these guys. You know, Mike signed up, I think, a week before Thanksgiving. Like we found a lot of leaders around the time where most people take their foot off the gas pedal. We was all in looking because we knew people was looking for something. And so this is a time where we got some great events coming up. Obviously today, I want to encourage you to not just be here, but be present and take intentional notes. You know, I was joking with my spiritual father and he like, man, people always want to take notes in church, but they never go study the notes. And so I want to encourage you to be here today, take notes, but study, like find something that you can say, you know what, that was a great nugget. I'm going to go implement that in my business immediately. And so what I want to encourage everybody to do as we have these trainings today, it's going to be great. Next week, we got the Eric Worre GoPro event. A lot of the leaders, what I'm talking to them about is they're rallying their team together and they're having vision board parties while they're watching that training going into the next year. Like that GoPro event the last 3-4 years, man, really changed everything for me. Because it's closing of the year. I'm looking at goals that I hit, that I missed, goals that I'm going into the new year with. And so I want to encourage you guys to be present. And today, I'm actually going to tease you guys a little bit with, you know, actually what I'm actually training on, a snippet of it at the GoPro event. I have that honor to train the industry next Saturday. And I think it's going to really help you guys. And so, man, let me share my screen here. And today I really want you to really get this. And I kind of walk you down my journey. You know, some of y'all know my story, some of y'all don't. I've been in this industry since I was 19 years old. And so if you're new here, this is your first year, your second year, maybe you've been in a company like this before, I really want you to understand, I've been in this since I was 19. I'm 29 years old today. So you talk about a decade plus. And it wasn't always where I'm at now. This was me in the trenches, in the slums, going out here showing the plan. This is me in somebody's living room showing the plan. Starbucks meetings, belly to belly, one-on-one. And I did this for 3 years straight, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't let my results or the income that I made in that particular platform affect my enthusiasm. I didn't, just because I had a retraction or I wasn't hitting a promotion or I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make, I didn't let that affect my energy of me showing the plan, because I understood that I had to put in my 10,000 hours. I want you to write that down. For you to master anything, you got to put in 10,000 hours. Not just 10,000 hours of just being in the company. I'm talking about 10,000 hours of activity, going through the nose, how to handle rejection, 10,000 hours of how to build leaders when you have people leaving your team and re-recruit. Like, I went through 10,000 hours of this, and in most cases, people looked at it as failure. Me, I looked at it as character building moments. Those 3 years, I never missed an event. Those 3 years, I never probably did less than 6, 7 meetings in a day for 3 years. That was the price it paid. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't getting results. So all of those people I was showing the business with, nobody was signing up. And for most people, that discouraged them. Man, this may be not for me, man. Man, I ain't making money, man. Like, some of my friends, my best friends, they gave up after 2 months. Me, I kept going because I looked at it as I'm perfecting. Kevin Durant, how many shots he took to perfect his shot. Kobe Bryant, how many times he spent it. This was me perfecting the industry. Understanding how to handle rejection, understand how to close, understand how to present it. We're going to talk about that later, but this was me for 3 years in this industry. Now, the question I have for you is, in order for you to be successful in this game, you got to take total responsibility for your results. I didn't blame my upline. It wasn't my upline responsibility for my results. Didn't blame my downline, didn't blame my sideline. My upline was a support outreach that I could potentially utilize to build my business. But if it was to be, it was up to me. And so I want to ask you guys on the call today, what level of game are you playing? Are you doing just enough to get by? Are you showing up when you feel like it? Are you showing up when you had a good week, a good month? Like, what level of game are you playing? Because for you to become a professional, you have to be all in with this thing. Well, Alfred, I got a full-time job. Well, Alfred, I'm in school. Alfred, I got this going on. Alfred, this is my part-time business. I still got my bread and butter over here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling you to walk away from any of that, because when I started UWE, guess what I had? A full-time job. I only worked the business maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. But those 3 or 4 hours a day, I was getting more production done than people that was full-time, because I leveraged those hours, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't just me just building or just floating around. You got to understand this: busy work, productive work. Focus on productive work, because that's what gets you paid. I want to shift to something. Look on the screen where it says production versus title. I just had a conversation with one of my up-and-coming leaders. They're executive sales director. I won't mention the person's name, but they hit that title. And once they hit that title, they kind of got in management mode. And I want you to understand that titles don't pay you, production do. And so you never want to get to a point. How many people ever seen somebody hit a title, hit sales director, hit regional, put a 3 in the chat, and they stopped doing what it took to get them there? Somebody hit regional sales director, SD, and they like, man, what, I ain't making the money I thought I was going to make at SD, because you stopped doing the work. See, the title just gives you the position where you can make the money. Sales director, I know I can make $380 a pop if I recruit somebody and get them qualified with 2 customers. Just because I hit the title, that doesn't equal a paycheck. Production does. So I want to encourage you to focus on production. And Kevin Blake, this man made 6 figures at executive sales director. So it doesn't really matter what title you at. It matters the production you do. When I was a sales director, I was doing $2,000, $3,000 a week. When I was at RSD, I was making $4,000 plus a week, because I understood the comp plan. I was making $430 a pop at at regional sales director. So my goal was to recruit 7 to 10 people a week. That was my goal. That was the numbers we was doing because we understood the compensation plan. So I want to encourage you to focus on production and not just worry about your pin title. You can have a vice president, RVP, EVP title, and yeah, you can make great money, but if you're not doing the habits, you won't make the money you should make. I also want to tell you guys to focus. Focus on one course until successful, ladies and gentlemen. The grind. How many people are you exposing the business to? Right? Commit to daily results, accountability. Like it was times in my business where I didn't cut the TV on. I didn't do anything until I hit a certain result in my business for that day, whether it's signing up 3 customers, whether it's getting 2 agents, whatever that goal is, commit to daily results. And so I found out that my mentor, he said, Alfred, listen, the purpose to every day in this business is to add customers to your team and to add representatives to your team, which is agents in your organization. That's the purpose of our goal every day, adding new customers, adding new people into our organization. And so I learned the game. My mentor, he told me, Alfred, it's a numbers game. And so some of y'all on this call, you're not going through enough numbers. I was just talking to a gentleman a couple of days ago. He's new in the business, but got a lot of potential. I said, man, you wouldn't believe the amount of people I've talked to over the last 5 or 6 years to find just that small group of people that's doing majority of the volume. I've personally recruited about 700 people, over 100 people a year on average, right? Just to get to the small percentage of leaders that's doing majority of the growth. And so the people you start with, you got to understand in most cases won't be the people you finish with. Now, this is a gentleman that I got a tremendous amount of respect for, Bill Brett. This gentleman built an organization that was doing over $1 billion a year in revenue. And so here's the secret, what he explained to people, because people used to always ask him, man, what's the secret? How you built such a large group? He said, it ain't no secret. I showed the plan to 1,200 people. 900 out of the 1,200 of the people told him no. So he showed it to 1,200 people and only 300 said yes. So he went through massive rejection. Now, out of the 300 people, this is important, ladies and gentlemen, because you're going to get some people that join your team. That don't mean they're going to do something. Out of the 300 people that joined his team, only 85 of them even tried to do something. That means 215 people, they didn't even try. Put a 1 in the chat. If you sign somebody up, you ain't hear from them. They don't get on none of the trainings. You reach out to them, they don't never hit you back, but they spent this money. Don't think that you're doing something wrong. That's just the numbers. There's somebody that built $1 billion organization, very successful, 300 people he enrolled, 85 people only did something. 215 didn't even attempt to do nothing. Now, out of those 85 people that was able to go out there and build and help him grow an organization, only 35 of them was serious. 85 people, they tried to get a customer, they tried to refer to business, but 35 people, they was committed to building something significant. And out of those 35 people, 11 of them made the man a multi-millionaire. So he went through 1,200 people. 11 of the 1,200 made this man a multi-millionaire. And so what does this mean? You have to up your numbers. You have to go through a lot of numbers to find a leader. And when I learned this was like my 3rd, 4th year into the game, my whole business changed. See, Daryl, what I was doing, even though I was all in and I was committed, I ain't gonna lie, I was getting emotional because I was doing everything they told me to do. Results wasn't happening. But then I found out the cheat code. And when I found the cheat code, ladies, and that's when things went to a whole nother level. Here's the cheat code. Every 13 presentations you do, every 13 exposures you do, that's going to equal about 1 agent. Every 10 people you sign up, that's going to equal 1 leader. Now, as you develop in this industry, these numbers goes up. Every 13 people that Stormy showed the business to, she may get 4, 5, or 6 people to enroll because she's developed on the scale. Every 13 people that Jesse Lee showed the business to, who's a top professional in the industry, made a fortune, she may get 4, 5, or 6 people to join because they're professionals. They've built the brand. But for the average person, every 13 people you show the business to, that's going to equal 1 agent that's going to join your team. And so, Daryl, when I learned these numbers, it was easy for me. This was like the cheat code for me because I understood even at that low level of 13 to get 1, I know how many people I need to talk to get 3 agents that week, 3 agents that day. That means I got to show the business to 13 people times 3, which is 39 people. And so when I learned that, I started to say, okay, I know how many exposures I got to do every day. And then when I learned that the bottom one I'm showing you, every 10 people I sign up, only 1 of them going to be a leader. So I wasn't getting discouraged when people joined my team and I didn't hear from them. When people joined my team and it wasn't as serious as I was, because I knew every 10 of them, I'm only going to identify 1 as a leader. And so when I got these cheat codes, I had an advantage over most people because they will go on an emotional roller coaster because they don't have this information that I have. And so I thought once I developed this, I started recruiting at a high level. I became the #1 recruiter in the company the first 2 years in my, like I was crushing it. 100+ recruits a year, like crushing it, even more than that. And so I thought I was doing the right things. I was having success. I had hit VP. I had hit VP in 4 months, but it took me 12 months to hit RVP. And so my 6th month in, I'm vice president. I came to our metro. I'm like, man, what's going on? Like I'm still at like 120,000. I'm trying to get to 250. Man, that's a big jump. I'm building. He said, Alfred, you got to understand, again, every 130 presentations, you're going to find 1 leader, right? Because it's 13 to get 1. Basically, if you do 130 presentations, that's 10 enrollments, you're going to find 1 leader through that. And so I was doing the activity. I was doing the production. And so I came to my mentor like, why am I stuck? Like, I'm trying to get to the next level. He said, Alfred, don't just build production, build leadership. I said, I thought I was building leadership by going out there and produce. He said, you kind of are, but you kind of not. Like you doing it because you're leading by example with production, but are you leading by example with, are you doing the production as a way of like you showing somebody the process of, or are you just doing the production just to make a paycheck? He said, not don't just focus on production, focus on building leadership. And that's when I got things mixed up. And then that's when I learned the game of getting people across this bridge, ladies and gentlemen. This is extremely important to understand how to get people across what I like to call the network marketing death bridge. Now, some of you on this call, you already doing this. You launching people. You helping your people get a result. You getting them into an event. You helping them get core rank, right? But you're not doing it fast enough. So you got to understand when you bring somebody in your organization, you got 24 to 48 hours to get that person launched. I don't even want to play with 48 hours. 24 hours you got to get this person launched. Because here's what I understand, ladies and gentlemen. When somebody joins your group, their excitement level in most cases is up here. Their fear may be down here. But every day that goes by, their fear start creeping up, their excitement start going down. And when you get a person that get their fear level above their excitement level, you lost that person. And so in order to avoid that, I need to attack this person when their excitement level is through the roof, which is when they invest into the business. So you got 24, I don't even want to say 48 hours. When you bring somebody in, whatever that launch process you got with your leadership, get this person launched properly. Here's another area I struggled in earlier in my career. I didn't launch people. I didn't care. Just cared about production, cared about getting people started. And when you build a business like that, you build a business, what I like to call a bottom of a bucket effect, hole in the bucket effect. You got people coming in and falling right back out. People coming in and falling right back out. And so it's a revolving door. You never build foundation. You never build a structure because people is falling right through that hole. And the hole that I like to call it is the dark hole. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when a person come in, get them launched 24, 48 hours. The worst case, make sure you get it done in 24 hours. I know I got 48 hours to help this brand new person I brought in get a result. I need to help them get a customer, get a rep. I got to get them some type of confidence quickly, not in a week, not in 2 weeks. I need to get it immediately to get that person confidence up. Then I got to get them into an event environment. See, if you bring people through this process, you will not only have people signing up, you will have people that's going to be with you long term. And the way that you get them started is the way they're going to get other people started. So I got them launched. Boom, I got this person a result. Maybe we got them their first customer, their auntie, their grandma, somebody. We started them to see confidence in the business that it could work for them. Then I got them into an event, whether it's Zoom, whether it's a live event. I got them to see that this is bigger than just me and them, that it's thousands of other people that's doing it. They're able to hear testimonials, right? So I'm getting this person engaged. I got them launched, they got a result, they're in an event. Now I got to validate and build the belief by getting this person a paycheck. I got to get them paid. I got to get them the core rank. ASAP, 7 to 11 days. This is what I want to happen when I bring somebody in. Launch, result, get them into an event, get them core rank, get them a paycheck, validate the belief. And if I do this properly, that's going to get this person across this bridge. Now I got to help them build a mindset, right? Most people coming from corporate America, maybe, to get into this industry. Entrepreneurship and working for somebody is completely different. I got to build a skill set. I got to help them recruit. I got to show them how to become a professional. I got to get them into the culture, and then I got to get them sold out. See, if you streamline a person through a process like this, you're going to have a person that's going to build this business with or without you. If you just get somebody enrolled and you plug them into a group, that's not getting them across the bridge. If you don't do this in a timely manner, because some of you are already doing it, but you're doing it, taking too long to do it, they're going to fall deaf to the network marketing dark hole. We want to get them across this bridge. Take a screenshot of this, the time frame that it needs to happen. I'll automatically assume if I don't do this in 24 to 48 hours, I already know that I lost that agent. It's going to be tough for me to get that person to do anything. And so keep in mind of when you bring people in, it's not about just getting them in, it's about developing them. I want people to be in this thing long term that can go out there and get customers and build a team. Now, the next thing I want you to focus on is what I like to call NPOMs, the newest possibility of momentum. That's what NPOM stands for. And so how do I identify who's an NPOM? Well, an NPOM, they have a few characteristics that you can identify immediately. An NPOM, they have contacts. An NPOM, they have influence. And the third thing that's most important is they're willing to play the game. See, I made a mistake earlier in my career. I would bring somebody in who have contacts. I would bring in a pastor, he got influence, but he wasn't willing to play the game. That's not your NPOM. They gotta be willing to play the game. I made a mistake. I said, this man got 300,000 followers. He got 3 million followers. He gonna blow it up. No, you can't label a person an NPOM just because they got contacts and influence. They gotta have all three. They gotta be willing to play the game. And I don't determine a person to be an NPOM until after we have their first launch meeting. Whether it's a Zoom, whether it's a home meeting, however we launch their business, they gotta get a result. Here's an example. NPOM joins, they have a meeting because of their influence, their contacts, grand opening, they get 3 people to enroll right on the spot. And the NPOMs determine who's you're gonna work directly with and who you're gonna put in the farm system, because you can't work directly with everybody. You're only one person. And so again, as you building your business, you gotta be sorting to find who's the NPOM, who's in season, who am I gonna spend my time with, who am I gonna work with based on this criteria right here to identify what an NPOM is. Now, also, I wanna touch on something real quick. Look on the screen where it says injured player. Put a 3 in the chat. You may be able to relate to me. If you ever brought somebody in and you wanted it for them more than they wanted it for themselves. You believed in the program and you knew they needed something different. You knew they needed some opportunity. Like, how many people know what I'm talking about? And so let me explain to you what an injured player is. This is very important to understand, because if you don't, you can start spending your time with the wrong people, right? And so an injured player is just somebody they aren't able to play full on, right? Every time you tell them to get on the training, every time you tell them to get on the call, every time you tell them you're having a Zoom webinar to invite people, their work schedule is too busy. They always working. They always miss every single training. They can never get on none of the calls, but they signed up, right? That's somebody that's what we call an injured player, right? Maybe they on vacation. You sign them up, they go on vacation for a week or two. There's nothing you can really do with this person. They're not going to work right now. They on vacation. Or maybe this person right here got a family. They always busy watching their kids. They can't really work the business. These are people who we call injured players. We love the injured players. We ain't gonna throw them away. But what we gonna do with the injured players, we're gonna put them in what we call the farm system. The farm system, the Facebook groups, the chats. We're gonna have them jump on the calls when they can. We're gonna give them the support that they need to grow their business at their own pace. But we're not gonna be working directly with these people because they're not ready to run. And so when you're able to identify and understand that, you could delegate your time efficiently to run with the right people. And so here's another thing you have to understand. 49 to 51. That's the right rotation desire per leader. You can't want it for somebody more than they want it for themselves. In worst case, they got to want it 51%, you want it 49. That's the worst case. That's the lowest totem pole of the league. I want somebody that wanted 99% for themselves. I could be that 1% that push them over. I want somebody that wanted 100% for themselves. But they got to at least want it 51% and you want it for. They got to want it for themselves more than you want it for. That's the right rotation desire per leader. And we also got to understand where we at in our business. We're coming up in December. We're coming up at the close of the year. Are you in the crawling stage, the walk stage, or are you in momentum right now you're running? And what does that look like? Well, if you're in the crawling stage, a lot of the company right now is rebuilding, right? We went through a slow season in the holiday time, right? People are looking to rebuild, find new leaders, right? Maybe you don't have a lot of activity. Maybe your schedule ain't packed out right now, right? So you got to go out there and do what I told you to do. 13 exposures to find one enrollment, right? You got to get out there in phase one activity. You got to be in front of people doing a lot of activity. That's the crawling stage right now. You're trying to get things going. You're trying to personally recruit, trying to find new leaders. Or maybe you in the walk stage. You done found a couple of people to work with that's qualified to be what we call an in-palm. And they may have a few meetings up under them. You're trying to work with these in-palms to develop them as leaders within your group. Or maybe you in the running stage. Maybe you got 3 or 4 in-palms you done developed over the last month or so. Maybe you got 3 or 4 people that got multiple meetings every single day that you have. Your organization is running. You got multiple legs that's building. That's the running stage where you got to decide, man, what Zoom I'm going to be on tonight? Who living room I'm going to be in? There's so much momentum that's happening right now. I don't even know who to work with. That's the running stage. That's the stage where you want to be. But you can't get here until you get the crawling stage. That crawling stage is where the leaders are groomed. That's where you find new people. That's where most people live at. That's where a lot of people are right now. And again, that's mean you're doing a lot of activity to really build your organization. And so I got a question for everybody on the call today. How many cards are in a card deck? Did anybody put that number on the screen? I forgot what the number is. How many cards are in a card deck? What they say, 52, 54? How many cards? 52? I got another question. How many aces is in that card deck? Out of 52 cards, 24 aces. So that means you're going to go through a lot of numbers to find those 4 aces. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you do find those 4 aces, I'm telling you, they could do majority of your volume. So you're going to come across a joker. Somebody going to tell you they going to take you to the top of the company. They know everybody. You're going to find out that nobody don't know them. Throw that joker away. Don't spend no time with the jokers, right? Focus on finding the aces, right? This business is all about sorting. The way that I built the organization that's so strong, every single leg is doing over $1 million a month in production, minimum. It's because I focus on the aces. Who could I run with? Who's a lead? How do I? I'm gonna show you how to recognize a leader here in a second. But focus on the aces. Those are the people you're looking for. I always use the analogy when you're on the plane, they come across that aisle. Sir, do you want something to drink? If you say no, they're gonna ask the next person immediately. What about you, ma'am? You care for anything to drink? What about you, sir? You want some? They're gonna go through the numbers. They're not spending time on people that's not thirsty. You got to find people that's thirsty and hungry for this opportunity. They're not going to convince you, sir, you sure you don't want nothing to drink? They're not going to do that. They're going to go through the numbers and find the people on the plane that's thirsty. Same thing you need to do. Find the aces, went to the building. Now, what is a leader to me? A leader to me is a momentum creator. A leader to me is somebody you can drop them in any state, any city, any zip code, and they're going to be able to build momentum. That's what a leader is to me. And so I always thought, you know, I remember last year, man, we had a month, a 4-week cycle where we signed up 5,000 agents in my organization in 4 weeks. That's like 1,250 agents a week. And I remember calling one of my mentors. I'm like, man, team crushing it right now. We're excited. We're in momentum. He said, hold on, let me stop you right there, bro. Let me stop you right there, bro. Momentum, what you mean you in momentum? I said, bro, we signed up 5,000 agents in 4 weeks. That's pretty good. He said, Alfred, let me explain something to you. He said, momentum is not a lot of people joining your team. He said, Alfred, call me in 90 days. Let me know how many of those 5,000 people hit your core rank in your particular company, and then I will tell you if you're in momentum. He said, Alfred, momentum is a lot of new excited agents, not only just joining your team, but following a system and getting results. He said, Alfred, it's not just about people joining your team, because as I talked about earlier, if it's not them following a system and getting results, you're going to have what I like to call the bottom of the bucket effect, the hole in the bucket effect, where they coming in, falling right back out. Coming in, falling right back out. 5,000 people join, 1,000 people go field. What are 4,000 people that? So it's not about how many people join. It's about how many people following the system and getting results. A lot of people joining, following the system and getting results. That's when you're in momentum. Not about the amount of agents that hit your back office. How many of them hit core rank? How many of them probably double ranked or even go to sales director? That's what momentum looked like. Now, here's something that I need you to really grade yourself on. Because at some point in your career, you're going to have to develop skills. But here's what I found out, Daryl. In most cases, when people hit momentum, in a lot of cases, they was ignorance on fire. How many people could agree to that? You came in, maybe you hit sales director, you really didn't know what you was doing, but you was excited and you were sharing the plan. People were signing up, you was getting promoted. They was bringing you on VPU, you were sharing your testimony, right? A lot of momentum starts with ignorance on fire, like you just sharing the plan. But at some point, that's fine to have ignorance on fire to build that momentum in the beginning. But at some point, to build a large group, at some point, you're going to have to develop skills. And these are the 7 skills that I think is very important. There's many more skills than this, but this is 7 skills that I believe you need to develop in your career. And so I want you to grade yourself on a scale of 1 through 10. How you are at finding prospects. That's very important. If you can't find prospects, eventually you're going to run out of people to talk to. Eventually you're going to run out of people like, yo, everybody on my Facebook, they already know I do this and they are interested. Everybody in my phone book, you got to find, that's a skill. How do I find prospects? See, you know, Grant Cardone says all the time that money loves attention. You have to get seen, right? You have to be a person that's always being seen, your product or your service. That's a skill you have to develop. How are you finding prospects? Number 2, what do you rate yourself on inviting prospects? Inviting people to see the information. Finding them is one thing. How do you get them to see what your opportunity is, right? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 through 10. Write that down right now. Be honest with yourself. Finding prospects, 1 to 10, where you at? Inviting prospects, 1 to 10, where you at? And here's the third one that's extremely important. Presenting. See, my mentor told me, he said, Alfred, the people in the front of the room, they make the most money. The people that going out there that's taking initiative to present, they make the most money. And so you don't have to be a world-class presenter. We just need you to be an effective presenter, right? Where you can get somebody to say yes or no. You don't have to be world-class, but at some point you got to develop the skill of presenting. Number 4, what do you rate yourself at following up? See, the fortune is in the follow-up, ladies and gentlemen. Most people don't sign up as soon as they see the information. I didn't even sign up as soon as I seen the information. It took me a couple of days to get started. And so a lot of you lose a lot of prospects just because you engage them, they see the information, they don't sign up immediately. What's your follow-up game look like, right? I found 2 7-figure earners following up when the timing was right for them. Amina Rashid took up 10 months. Bruce Rochester took him 9 months. Following up with prospects, that's important. Building a relationship. Where you rate yourself at on a scale of 1 through 10. Number 5, closing. Daryl, this is important, man. Closing, if you're not closing business, you out of business. I'm gonna say that again. If you're not closing business, you're gonna be out of business. In our case, you're gonna be in grace, you're gonna lose a rank. And so for me, you gotta understand how to close. You gotta understand that you're gonna deal with, I don't have the money, right? We get paid to be problem solvers. We get paid to come up with solutions. They gotta talk to their spouse. They gotta pray on it, right? Like, these are things that I already know 95% of the people I talk to is gonna tell me. It's gonna be a money issue. They need to talk to their spouse. They need to pray on it. Like, those are things that you already should be prepared to answer. You already should be prepared to bring a solution to that. When you go to the supermarket, when you go to Walmart, when you check out, ladies and gentlemen, you have to assume the close. When you check out, they don't ask you, hey, sir, do you think you got, $247? They just tell you the price and they assume the close. MasterCard or Visa card. Like, you have to assume the close, ladies and gentlemen, but you also have to be equipped with how to close when they give you those objections that I mentioned. The money issue, talking to their spouse, right? They got to pray. You got to understand it. That's what most people is going to tell you. Number 6, core rank development. This is huge. How many people are you bringing through our bloodline in our company is field training? That's the bloodline rank for us. And so if your organization isn't moving that needle, right? And that's something that I'm really focused on because I'm looking at the numbers. Every month when we close the month, I go to how many promotions happened in the company. One of the first things I look at is field training. When I'm looking at the numbers in the whole company, not just my group, that number is extremely low. That's a problem. It's a big disconnect. That means people is missing something because I believe that every person that joined can go field train. That means they're not getting walked across that bridge properly. That means they're not getting plugged in properly. They never probably had a launch. They never had a grand opening. A person should be able to go field train, especially their first month. We trying to get it done within their first couple of days. So you gotta look at where you at on the scale of 1 through 10 at core rank development every month in your organization. And then number 7, promoting events. So this skill right here, it's making millions of dollars. Millions promoting events. He said, this was an event today. How many people wish they had more people on their team today on this training? See, here's what I learned, and I struggled with this for 2 years in the industry. I used to go to every single event by myself because I used to get frustrated with my team. I used to think that they wasn't serious. They're a grown man, a grown woman. I'm not going to convince them to come. I'm not going to be going through that. If they wanted, they'll show up. When in reality, in most cases, people got to be told what to do. You got to paint the vision. You got to pull that layer back. And so I came to my mentor about to quit one day saying, listen, I'm doing everything y'all told me to do, bro. I've been in this thing for a little bit over 2 years. I've been to every single event. I'm still struggling. I ain't making no money. They looked at me and they started laughing. I'm like, what y'all? I'm serious, man. What's funny? They say, Alfred, listen, man. We love your enthusiasm. We love your heart, your passion. We see that you committed. but you're a professional meeting attendant. You at every single event, every meeting with no prospects, no guests, and you ain't bringing your team with you. How you expect to grow? Alfred, you already in. You need new people to see the information. You need your teammates to be with you at these events. They said, how would you feel right now? How you feel right now coming out of this event that we had a convention? I'm like, man, I'm excited, man, but I gotta see some results. They say, imagine if you had 10 people that felt the same way that you felt right now. Excited, ready to run through a wall, ready to build. See, if you go home with 10 people, is it safe to say that we can help them go SD within the next 30, 60, 90 days? And if you have 10 people go SD, you just became a vice president. But if you're the only one at the training, like you can't really translate what you just experienced. You could try to your best of your knowledge, but you're only gonna be able to bring back 50% of what you learned at that training. By the time you communicate that with your team, they only probably gonna get 25% because they only gonna get half of what you got. By the time they share that with their team only gonna get 5 and 1%. And so they gotta be in an environment. And so that was my goal. I understood that this industry was a real estate game. Whoever have the most people in the room always make the most money. That's equity. And so what I said was, I set a goal coming out of that training, every leg of my business. Look how many legs you got, whether it's 3 legs, 4 legs, 5 legs, however many legs you got, leadership, real legs, solid legs that you got identify a leader in. How many people you're going to have in each leg at that event? And that's how I started building my business. And that's how I got my organization to be so strong in every leg of business, because I set a goal. Okay, I need 25 people from each leg at this event. As my team grew, I need 50 people at each leg at this event. I need 100 people, and so on and so forth on each leg at this event, because I understood that if I had every leg represented, somebody gonna catch the vision at that event. Somebody gonna grow and be, and that's how I can develop a leader, by getting them into the event environment. So you gotta become the Don King of this thing. You gotta, everything is an event. Trainings, VP University, webinars, everything is an event. You gotta put it in yourself on how you can get more people to show up to these events in your organization. That's gonna grow your team. Now, I also wanna talk about the 3 Ps. Production, promotion, payouts. This is all you wanna focus on. Really the latter Ps, right? Production, promotion. Production, promotion. If you bring in customers and agents, that's gonna lead to people getting production and promotions. If you helping your team get production done, bringing in agents and customers, that's gonna lead them to get promoted. And if you're doing these 2 things, production and getting people promoted, that's gonna lead to payouts. But Daryl, you know what most people focus on? Payouts. You know what people looking at? Let me go see what my check look like Wednesday, Thursday. Don't focus on the payout. Set a goal for what you may want to make, but if you focus and live in production and getting people promoted, production core rank, like production core rank, production core rank, production core rank, you're bringing people in. If you focus on that, by default, you're gonna get paid out, and it's gonna be massive. But if you just focusing on the payout, if you building the business based on cabs and bringing in agents, like you can make money, but your team ain't making money and you're not building the right habits. So guess what? You'll be at that title for a long time because you're not building leadership. You're not having people go out there and be able to duplicate them on themselves. So focus on production and promotions. Getting people productive, getting people promoted. Getting people agents and customers, getting people promoted. That's going to lead to them getting paid. Like when I help people do this, I look at that as a checkpoint. I used to love playing Mario Kart. How many people play Mario Kart? You're about to run out of gas, you get to that checkpoint. You get some more life. How many people know what I'm talking about? That's what it is when you get your people promoted. And you got to celebrate them. Celebrate the field trainers as if they hit vice president. Because I can tell you right now, Pam, Dr. Underwood, J.R. Ness, people in this industry, they live for edification. People would die for edification more than a paycheck. And so if you edify your people, right, that's going to keep them long term. Obviously, that's going to get them paid, but you can't just let a person hit a promotion and don't recognize these people. Like, make it a big deal. Make it a person feel like they're a part of something. Now, repetition is reputation. I got LeBron James on here. He played for my Miami Heat basketball team. That's why I got him in a Heat uniform. But here's what I wanted to share with you. No matter where he went, he won a championship. Came to the Heat sucked before he got there, won a championship. Came back, went back to Cleveland. Cleveland sucked before he came back. Came there, won a championship. Went to the Lakers. The Lakers went like 3 or 4 years without even making the playoffs. Came there, won a championship. 3 different teams. He came and won the championship. Your repetition is your reputation. A leader, they take responsibility for creating production, promotion, and payouts for their agents, not some of the time, all of the time. This is what a leader is focusing on with their team. They helping their team get production, promotion, payout. Production, promotion, payout. LeBron James, he helping people that spot up, hit shots, helping people get better contracts because they played better with him. A leader helps their team get production, promotion, and payouts all of the time. Not just some of the time, not just in the 5-week month, all of the time, right? When you're building something. Now, how do I recognize a leader? How do I find a person to spend my time with? Talked about in palms, that's great. But recognizing a leader, they have these 6 qualities that I personally look for over time. Number 1, leaders quickly learn how to present and train. Number 2, leaders are always working on themselves, personal development, right? First 2 things that I just talked about, Jermaine Cullum, Daryl Cullum, he's always focusing on personal production. Y'all was listening to Jim Rohn earlier today. This man took initiative to go out there and present at an early age in his career, right? He's training you guys. Like, he already got 2 of the qualities. Number 3, leaders build relationships. It's not just about recruiting somebody. I want somebody to be with me long term. Amina Rashid, she's been with me for almost 6 years. Bruce, 6 years. Alyssa Barnes, almost 6 years. Mike Burgos, almost 6 years. We got so many leaders that's been with us for so long because we built relationships. It's not just about the business. Leaders focus on building relationships. Leaders always share the vision. Even in times of disarray, even in times when the momentum ain't where it needs to be, or the income went down, leaders is always talking about where they're going. Where you're going, what's the goal, what's the vision, where are we going to be at 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now. Leaders are always sharing the vision. Leaders constantly promote events. How many people you going to have at the Eric Worre event? A lot of the leaders, what they're doing is they having people come to the house and they having a watch party with dream boards, right? They having vision boards while they watching the Eric Worre event. They getting their team rallied up to go to the event in Dallas, Texas, the first of the year, January Jumpstart. Leaders are constantly promoting events, and leaders always goes back to phase 1. Daryl, they may say, well, what is phase 1? I heard him mention it earlier, talking about it now. What is phase 1? Well, ladies and gentlemen, phase 1 is 4 stages in network marketing. 4 of them. And it's important to understand these stages because I can tell you that most people, they've at least been at one of these stages at some point in their career. The first stage that we like to talk about is phase 1. That's bringing in customers, you're actively recruiting. Then once you get to a point where you're actively recruiting, you're bringing in a lot of production, then you get to the analyze stage. You start, okay, man, I done signed up 10 agents this month. Let me see what John gonna do. And here's what your team do. When they see you stop producing, when they see you start to analyze, all of those people you brought in, guess what they gonna do? They gonna start analyzing. And so now that puts you in management mode. That's phase 3. Now you're analyzing the analyzers. You're managing people that's analyzing. So no production is happening. Everybody's just checking up on who's doing what. How many people you got? Nobody's doing no production. Everybody's managing everybody. And then that's going to lead to the 4th stage in this industry, the blame game. You start blaming your downline because they ain't doing nothing. You start blaming your sideline, they negative, they gossiping, they talking about this, nothing about production. You start blaming your upline for your results. And you never want to live in the blame game. You never want to be in management mode. You never want to be analyzing. You want to lead by example with phase one activity. I started this training off by saying the purpose of every day is to bring in new customers and new agents. That's every single day. That's your goal. Whether you hit it or not, that's the purpose of every day. Not to analyze, not to manage, because listen, this is a volunteer army, ladies and gentlemen. We don't own nobody, right? These people doing their own business, they got their own goals. It's not for us to manage people. You want to lead by example because you have to go through a lot of numbers to find those leaders. I showed you Bill Brett results. I talked about mine, the amount of people I recruited to find a small group of leaders that's doing a ton of volume in your group. You have to stay in phase one. Don't take your foot off the gas pedal. Get in front of people. Show the plan, right? These are the 4 stages of network marketing. You never want to live in phase 4, phase 3, not even phase 2. Stay in phase 1, going out there building the business. How do you attract a leader? How many people was like, man, put a 3 in the chat, this was me. If you was like, man, if I just had 5 people like me on my team, man, if I can just get this one guy, you know the person in your phone book, they successful, they got influence. You know if they join your organization, if I can just get John to get in, it's a wrap. See, ladies and gentlemen, in order for you to attract a leader, you have to become a leader because you're only going to attract who you are. You're not going to get what you want. You're only going to attract who you are as a person. And so you have to lead by example. You have to have that personal development. You have to grow as a person to be able to attract the right leaders into your organization. And so to get leaders, you have to become a leader. To attract a leader, you got to lead by example. You have to grow because you're only going to get who you are as a person when building this business. And again, ladies and gentlemen, nobody like a boss. Again, this is a volunteer army. We're not here to tell people what to do. We want to demonstrate with our life. We want to demonstrate with our results. We want to demonstrate being in the trenches. We want to demonstrate with being on the charts. We want to demonstrate with us leading people, not telling them what to do, but showing them how to do it. How to do 3 meetings in a day, how to do 4 meetings in a day, how to prospect, how many trial runs I'm doing a day, how do I go through a lead? What did it sound like when I'm closing a customer? Bruce used to come to my condo all the time and just record me while I'm talking to people on them, how I closed out 10, 12, 15 customers in a day. He used to come and see me do that, how and eventually he took enough that he needed and then he was able to do it himself. Listen, Barnes, same thing, right? Mike Burgo said, like, he was able to show them how to do it. I'm not interested in just helping people fish. I'm interested in showing people how to fish. See, I had an interesting conversation about a couple of weeks ago with the leadership team, and I told them, just imagine if everybody on your team just went out there this month and just got 2 customers. 2 customers. Not in one day, not in the whole month, just 2 customers. Everybody on your team, just 2 customers. Your organization customer base will double. Your volume will go through the roof. But the reason why people aren't doing that is, I think it's fairly easy for a person to get 2 customers in a month. If they have the foundation and they're doing the right activity every day, they should be able to go out there and get 2 customers in a month. Most people don't even know how to get a customer, what to say to get a customer, how to close a customer. Jamal, they don't know any of those things. That's why it's important to bring people across that bridge and get them plugged into an environment, because if they knew better, they'll do better. And so again, we got to lead by example. We got to show them the game plan. You know, I'm in a position where I want to teach to teach. So eventually I could be on the beach. What do I mean by that? I want to teach this, and that's why I told y'all to write notes. So as you start modeling and doing some of the things that we're talking about, you can eventually teach your team. So let's just say I get this person started. I'm going to teach him what I know, but I'm teaching him like, listen, I need you to record this. I need you to write this down. I need you to pay attention, because soon you're going to teach this to your team. And if you have that model, teaching this person so he could teach, I'm teaching him to teach, so that person could do the same thing. Now your business Has nothing to do with you. Your team is growing with or without you. Your team is trained. But if everything is predicated and dependent on you, you don't have a business, you have a job. You can never hit the top of the company because you're a one-man show. You got to have duplication. Like no matter how many people, I remember a couple years ago, I signed up, matter of fact, I think it was maybe last year. I signed up 300 customers in a month, right? And Ashton and Anthony Jackson was laughing about it because we'll call Ashton going back and forth, like who's on the top producer list, who got the most customers in your organization. Me and him was going back and forth, me and Anthony Jackson. I did 300. And I said on the call, we was on a three-way, I said, you know what's so funny about this, bro? Let's do the math. 300 customers, if you times that by 200 in volume, although 300 customers sounds impressive, man, that's only 60,000 in volume. Like I can't even go VP by myself with 300 enrollments. And so you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you bring people in, I want to empower people to grow. I need people to run with me. Instead of me getting 300 customers myself, I would rather everybody on my team or half of the people on my team just get 2 customers this month, opposed to me just signing up 300 customers myself. That would be massive growth. Just think about that. 20,000 people getting 2 customers. That's 40,000 customers in a month. That's far beyond me doing 300 by myself. And so that's what this industry is all about. Duplication, growth, development of leaders, not you by yourself. Although we want to lead by example. And yeah, we're going to be on the production charts. But we got our goals every day. We living in phase 1. We getting in front of people. We closing people. But I want to teach other people how to do that. I want to teach other people to be assassins. So be the leader, not the boss. So we don't want to tell people what to do. We want to show them what to do. And as I wrap up here, I want to talk about the magnifying glass effect. I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you're building a business like this, working everywhere means momentum nowhere. Jamal, I know you got a good heart. You want to help everybody on your team. Daryl, I know you got a good heart. You want to help everybody on your team. Ness, I know you want to help everybody grow, but here's what you have to understand. Working everywhere means momentum nowhere. Here's what I did. What I did was I worked with a specific leg of leaders for a season. Where the growth was, where the momentum was, that's where I was at. Because I was helping them develop. I was helping them grow massive. And I was in that leg grinding and growing with them. And then eventually when they got to a level where I thought they was, not just because of the title. A person can hit a title and still not be a leader. And if you leave that leg prematurely, that whole leg could collapse. So just because a person go VP fast, that don't mean necessarily that you step away from that leg, because this person may not be able to be in a position to lead that leg just yet. So you got to be a good judgment of character and leadership development. And so what I did was I would work with this leg, you know, where the momentum was at until it got to a level where they was mature enough to carry that out. Boom, once they did that, I would go work with somebody else. Let me get with Alyssa Barnes for some time. Building with her, grind and grind. She got to a level of maturity. The growth was still happening. Boom, I came over here, me and Rasheed, let's go, let's get it. Helping her grow, building. She got to a certain level of maturity where she was able to carry it out. Her and Jaya, they started building. Billy Scott, let's run, bro. Running with Billy Scott. Like working everywhere means momentum is nowhere. And so if you get a magnifying glass, if you hold it, go outside right now, and if you hold it steady enough for a long period of time, eventually it'll catch a fire. But if you over here, if you move it all around, you working you're moving a magnifier, you ain't gonna find no moment. You're gonna spread yourself too thin. That's why I say you gotta identify who's worth your time and who's worth group time. Who's worth personal time, who's worth group time. Who's need to be put in the farm system, who you need to work directly with. This is very important to identify, ladies and gentlemen, to develop the right leaders that, again, got these characteristics that I talked about earlier. How do you recognize a leader? They do these things right here that you see on the screen. That's who you know who to go run and work with. They may not be doing all 6 of them because they knew they still developing, but they doing some of them. Those are the people you really spend that time with. Now, to break records, you got to track records. I'm gonna say it again, to break records, you have to track records. And so my question to you is, are you taking inventory every month of your organization? Like every month for me, I got a notebook that's upstairs. I call it a recruiting class. It has every single January, February, March, April, May, every month is a recruiting class. And we look at the numbers. How many people joined the recruiting class last month? How many people joined this month? And we look at the numbers and we say, okay, this month we did about 1,500. The next month we did 1,300. Like, why didn't we go back 200? Like, what's the dynamics of the organization? Why didn't we grow? If you did 1,500, that means a lot. And you only did 1,300. That means a lot of people didn't hit core rank. And so if you start to really develop your organization and start look at those things like that, or start talking with your leaders, hey man, I see you got a lot of agents. Man, we got a lot of people to work with this upcoming month that didn't go field training. Let's work with these people to go core rank. And so if you're just bringing people and you just go, like, you got to take a detailed analysis and inventory of your organization. Again, the track records, you gotta be able to track them to break them, to build something significant. And so I close out with this. Here's how you develop a leader. Number one, integrity is everything. Understanding the protocol, teaching that person the integrity of how we build this business, how we do business. If a person's household ain't right, it's gonna be very tough to even run this business. And so we wanna make sure that we're developing people with the personal development. That's key, right? We don't want people to spend 3, 4, 5 hours a day on personal development, but we want them to be reading something. What book are they reading? What audio are they listening to? Sometimes you may not be able to listen to the audio or read the book in the morning because your meeting may be packed out, but maybe you can listen to it at night. At some point, we want a person to develop the personal development. We want to build an integrity with that person. Number two, I talked about it earlier. I asked you to grade yourself. What do you find yourself on a scale of 1 through 10 when it comes to finding prospects? When it comes to inviting, when it comes to presenting, when it comes to follow up, when it comes to closing, when it comes to core rank development, promoting events. Like, we want to develop a person's skill set because skills pay the bills, right? In the beginning, it could be excitement. Ignorance on fire could get you a lot of people in, but at some point, people got to develop skills to grow. Number three, talked about the process. I showed you the bridge, right? Imagine if you had 10 people in your organization that had their own core rank bridge. Imagine if you had 50 people, 50 leaders that had a process of how many people we could get across this bridge every month. 10 people that had a process of getting people across that bridge. You would develop more leaders. Daily method of operation. What does your calendar look like? Again, I was only working 3-4 hours a day in the beginning. So if you're part-time, there's no excuse. Those 3-4 hours, man, I was getting more work done than most people that was full-time. So what is your daily method of operation? If you got kids, if you don't have babysitters, if you got a lot of stuff going on, you got a full-time job, you got to identify how many hours a day you can put into this business, how many hours a week you can put into this business. What is your ultimate goal? We're not just here to just be throwing mud on the wall and hoping it stick. Like, my first goal was, how could I get UWE, FES at the time to pay my whole household expenses so I can go full-time? That was one of my first goals. And so I worked towards that, hit a certain level, started having production, started growing leadership. And then I said, do I want to stay at this job because I love what I do? Or do I want to go full-time? I left the job, went full-time. You got to have a game plan. You can't just be in this thing to bring customers in and trigger cash. You got to have a game plan to get to a certain level, and you got to follow that game plan. And sometimes you got to tweak the game plan. And sometimes you got to develop the game plan, right? But you got to have a DMO of where you're going every single day. That's your GPS to your goal. That's your GPS to your destination. What your daily habits look like will determine your future. And in the beginning, you may not have a packed out schedule. I didn't have a packed out schedule in the beginning. It was blank. I had to develop by doing activity. I had to develop my schedule by going out there, getting in front of people. And then you got to have a strategy. 2022 is coming up. What's your strategy? How many people you bringing with you to the Jumpstart event? You want to go vice president? Get 10 to 12 people with you to that event. You want to go senior vice president? Get a team of about 100 people with you to that event. Have every single leg represented. That's going to give you massive growth to start the year, because guess what's happening right after that? Tax time. Guess what happened right after that? 5-week cycle in March. And if you got your people on fire coming out of that event, I'm telling you, man, March, we done seen some incredible things happen. I done seen people go from ESD to EVP in the 5-week cycle in March, because you have to understand the seasons. Most people get their tax refund. People are fired up. New year, new me. You have to have a strategy to kick off the year. You have to have a strategy to get the goal of what it is you're looking to get done. And as I close out the last slide here, one of my favorite leaders, John C. Maxwell. He said a leader is one who goes the way, knows the way, and they show the way. They lead by example. And so I want to encourage you to be that leader for your group. I want to encourage you to stand on your own and say, you know what? They talked about these skills. Like, I gotta go get this done. They talked about it earlier. These are things that I have to go out here and develop. At some point, I gotta develop these skills. I have to. If I don't develop these skills, I can hit a title and don't make no money. I can hit the title based off ignorance on fire, me being excited and getting people in. But again, at some point, you got to develop skills. Because if you don't have skills, you're going to have a lot of people in that just looking like this. They ain't doing nothing because they don't have no skills. They don't even know how to find prospects. They don't know how to invite people. They don't know how to present. So nobody's developing. Nobody's hitting field trainer. And so at some point, I want to encourage you to develop these skills. Right? It took me seasons to develop these. I focused on two of them at a time. I became extremely good at finding prospects and inviting. Edification, that was a skill that made me a fortune. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really got value from what I shared here today. I hope you took notes. Go back and watch the replay. I know that they're recording it, and really implement. You know, this was a lot of information in a short period of time. Find something that resonates with you that you can go take immediate action on and start getting results as we close out this 5-week cycle and go into a new year. So with that being said, I'm gonna take myself out of the way. I see we got Jamal, he got a hand up. So Jamal, you want to come in? If you got any questions, certainly feel free. I don't know if
Yes,
I got
sir.
the ability to, okay, y'all gotta unmute you, but yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me? All right, so basically we're going over psycho cybernetics book we're reading, and we're going over Think and Grow Rich and things of that nature, right? Okay. So your story, you know, we know the front part. I mean, we know kind of the front part. We know how where you continue from there to get your success. What I want to know is, for a lot of people who are starting off and they don't have that belief in themselves. From where you came from Miami Beach, you came from the hood, and when did you get that mindset change that I can do this? That's one question. And then the second off, you know, perseverance is one of the biggest things that we have in our industry that we got to keep, that we got to push through. The ability to say, okay, all right, this it may not be going 100, but I got to push through this object. Can you give us an example of when you really hit that perseverance, and also, you know, what made Alfred Nickson say, I can be Alfred Nickson, from coming from the position that you were in?
Oh man, first of all, that's an incredible question, man. Appreciate your leadership. Had a chance to you was at the training that we ran into each other in Miami a few weeks ago, and man, I'm proud of you, man, under the leadership of Daryl Cullum. I'll never forget, Daryl told me, you're like, hey man, I got a guy, man, I think he could, you know, he could be pretty good, and I'm seeing your growth, man. So shout out to you, man, for being committed, for being all in the success that you had so far. But to answer your question, I knew in my heart when I first seen the network marketing industry, I knew that I was going to the top. I didn't get started in this industry to just be a mid-level person or just to make some money. I wanted to be one of the GOATs. I wanted to be one of the greatest people that ever did this. And so for me, when I learned that I could make this type of money, it was easy for me to make a decision because I never had went to college. I never, barely graduated high school. And so for me, I didn't have nothing else that can pay me this type of income. There was nothing else out there for me that I seen that can not only pay me this type of income, but also give me the time freedom. And so I was willing to commit to become a professional. I was willing to commit to develop the skill set that it would take, because I understood that people go to college for 4 years and they don't never get paid in those 4 years. They developing a curriculum. And so I was committed. I said, you know what? I'm 19, even if it take me 10 years. That was my mindset in the beginning. Even if it take me 10 years, I'm willing to go through all of those adversities and whatever I need to go through to become the person I need to become. Because at 10 years, that's 29. By 30, I'm living the rest of my life. And so I was willing to commit short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. Now think about this. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with 14 people. And so me dealing with this was easy for me. I seen people get shot in the head. I seen some crazy stuff growing up. And so this industry, this was like a sigh of relief for me. I became a part of something. It introduced me to personal development. I started reading books. And so I already committed when I first seen the presentation. I just didn't have the money right away, but I was like, I'll do this for the next 10 years. I don't care what it takes. And so I had committed the first day I signed that dotted line and pushed that application through and paid that fee. That got me all in. And when I knew that I was going to go to the top, the adversities I faced it was in my first company that I was in before I got in UWE. We had 4 conventions a year, man. Think about this. I tell some of the people that, who haven't got off to a fast start, or I say, man, listen, you got to understand that, your process may be a little bit more watered down than mine was, because here's what our schedule looked like. Monday, we had leadership calls and meetings that we did that day. Tuesday, we had a Tuesday overview every single Tuesday. Wednesday, we had PBRs and we was launching people. Thursday, we had PBRs and we was launching people. Fridays, we was launching people, and then until we had our leadership meeting. We had a leadership meeting every Friday, and every Saturday, we had a training. We had a super Saturday every Saturday. I did that for 3 years. I didn't go out on the weekend because I had Friday night leadership, Saturday training. And so most people may get a super Saturday once a month. So I'm condensing what you're learning one time a month. That was what was happening for me every week for 3 years. And so I condense my time frame of information and results because of the information that I got. Most people didn't get trained that way. And so I was proving myself. I said, you know what? I'm willing to give out. I ain't going out on the weekend, bro. I'm good. I'm finna focus my mindset, Friday night leadership. That's what kept me going. Every time I came in Friday, I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to throw in the towel. I wanted to give up. But Friday, it kept me going in that leadership training that we had. Saturday, we had the Super Saturday training. That kept me going, learning the curriculum in the industry. And so I just knew it was a matter of time of me taking advantage of what I'm learning and implementing it to start developing success. And again, you had to put in your 10,000 hours. John Malott, one of my good friends, he's one of the best in the world today. He didn't start making 6 figures to his 7th year in network marketing. 7 years, bro. Like, think about that. Like, a lot of the top earners that I know, they had to pay the price. Now, Stormy, we grew up in the same neighborhood. She was just a hustler. She knew a lot of people. She got it out the mud. Her first, 8-9 months, she made $1 million. Like, that's not really common. Nicola Smith Jackson, she made $1 million her first year in network. Like, most people don't do that. And if they do that, in most cases, they probably paid the price somewhere else, developed relationships, developed certain things, and brought their work ethic and leveraged that. But I knew automatically I was willing to commit 10 years, like to become a professional in this game. And I knew, obstacles I had to face. Every 3 months, we had a convention around the country. And I wasn't making no money at this time. And so I'll never forget, we had a convention. I was living in Miami at the time. We had a convention in San Jose, California. And I'll never forget, I asked my mom for, hey, could I hold $25? Like my mentor got me a buddy pass to get to the event. And she told me no. She said it don't make no sense for her to give me $25 to fly across the country with no money for an event that I'm getting brainwashed in and I ain't making no money. But she's seen me every day go do meetings. No money was coming in. So I had to figure it out. I ended up getting maybe $20 to go for that weekend. And I got my buddy pass, and I'll never forget, I landed in San Jose. Now, if any of you that know what a buddy pass is, you only get on the plane if it's an open seat. And so I missed like 3 flights because the plane was packed out. And so when I finally got on the plane, now mind you, I'm coming from Miami. That's like a 5-hour flight. When I landed in San Jose, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So all of my leaders, they sleep. I don't got no money. I got like $20 to my name or something like that, probably even less than that. I got on the bus. It was a free bus that take you to a certain point. I got on the bus. I asked the man, I'm trying to go to this hotel. He said, listen, I can go take you this far, but you got to get off right here because I make a turn. And then the hotel is like 4 miles down the street. So I got off in the middle of nowhere and I'm just running in the rain till I found this hotel. By the time I found the hotel, it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. Mind you, it's 50-something degrees in the rain. I don't got no money. All my leaders sleep. I had to sleep in the lobby. And so when I'm telling my mom this, she's like, you crazy, you brain. Why would you even put yourself in that situation? But see, it was at that training where I met a gentleman. You could go Google him, YouTube him, named Patrick Mazer. Man, it's probably the best network marketer I've ever seen in my life as far as like, he's not human. He act like a robot. Like everything he do is perfect. I met him at that convention and I started having conversations with him in the hallway, asking him certain questions, picking his brain. Most people would have never even went to a convention like that. They would never went to that. I don't got the money. I just go when I start making. It was that training. That's why I got a breakthrough from the not even the training, the conversation I had with Mr. Patrick Mazer at the time changed everything for me. And so it was those, that's just one story. That's just one. It's many. I got hundreds of them like that I had to do in my first few years. That's where the adversity comes, the character building moments. That's what's going to push you to do the things that most people won't do. So you can live a life that most people can't have. So that's just one example, pushing myself to get to those trainings, man, when I didn't have the money.
I appreciate that. Appreciate your leadership. Definitely needed that. Yeah, that was great for everybody, man. Appreciate it.
Man, you got to know in the beginning, bro. You got to walk. I always walk when I joined UWE. I always walked as a senior executive vice president because we didn't have Pinnacle when I first joined. Senior executive was the highest level, and that's where I always seen myself. And even though I wasn't at that title and it was so far away, that was always my destination. That was always what I was running towards. I'll never forget, I hit vice president. I was extremely excited. I went down to the wire to hit that title, man. I hit that title probably, I think at 2:54 in the morning on the East Coast. 6 minutes away from the close of the month, put the final agent in. I was excited, celebrated. That next day, Sunday, we back at it. And got the team together. Hey, man, we're excited. We had a breakfast with the team. We on to the next goal, helping our team hit those goals. And that's how I hit a lot of my titles. I focused on helping the team. What is their goals? I sat with Mike Burgos, right? I gave Mike Burgos all of the attention. I never talked about what I was focusing on. What do you want out of this, Mike? What are you willing to commit? How much money do you want to make? What title do you want to be at in 90 days? What are you willing to get? Like I pulled out of him what he really wanted. Boom, I had somebody that was committed to run. Same thing with Valesky. Valesky got off to a slow start. He didn't really want to build a business. I sat down with him and another gentleman at Hooters. Start building the vision for him. What do you really want out of this, bro? Like, I don't just want you to sign up at $288. Like, what do you really want? Because it's happening for me. I'm growing. I'm making 30 grand a month. I was a vice president at this time. Valesky started telling me some of his goals. And I started holding them accountable to those goals. And so as I started doing this with a lot of my leaders, by them hitting their goals, it contributed overall to my volume. And obviously with my, I had my own personal goals. I had my own personal production that I was doing, but it was so much easier when you got so many people running towards their goals that's contributing towards your goal. It's so much easier to go that way. But if I'm just trying to just do it myself, man, like I told you, I signed up 300 customers in a month. That's not even 100,000. I can't do $1 million in production by myself if I want to go SVP. It's impossible. Not impossible, but you got to go through a lot of sales to get that. And that's not organic. You can't handle all of those people anyways. And so I always knew where I was going. I always knew what I wanted to commit to. I wanted to put 10 years into this game because I know people that work 40 years and retire broke. So if I can go 10 years, get personal development, learn and grow, and get to a point where I'm financially free, it was worth it. I know people that become doctors. One of these girls who I went to high school with, she just becoming a doctor. We graduated in 2011. It's 2021, 2022. She got hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. She put in 10 years. She's making a 6-figure income, but she's really not making that because she got to pay all this money back in student loans. And so I was willing to commit that to this industry where my tuition was going to be personal development and going to events and learning from people that's millionaires. It was a no-brainer. It was easy for me to do it. Most people, they don't think that way. And so they look at their results, or maybe this isn't for me. It's not that it's not for you. It's for anybody that want to develop those 7 skills I talked about. Because if you don't have skills, you can't win. Skills pay the bills. They don't just let anybody go out there and operate and do brain surgery. You got to go through years of development in college to be able to develop and get that curriculum to become a doctor to do brain surgery. They don't just let anybody do that. And so I was willing to go through that curriculum here, except for I didn't have to take out student loans and be in debt. And so it was easy for me to pay the price. And in some cases, it don't take 10 years. By my 4th year, I was doing extremely well, but I was willing to commit 10 years to become a professional.
Pretty sure you pretty much knocked that answer out the park. Couldn't ask for a better answer, man. Thank you for sharing that story. Definitely very powerful. Thank you for all you do. You paved the way for everyone on this call just by going through the journey that you entail. So I know this is just the beginning, and you got a lot more history to make. And I'm just thankful to even be a part of it as well with playing my position. I know you're traveling for vacation. Thank you for taking time out your day for hopping on this call, guys, because he really didn't have to do this whatsoever. So everyone, thank Alfred. I'm gonna let him get on and enjoy your holidays or what have you. Yeah, we're excited. GoPro coming up, January Jumpstart is coming around. Everyone's excited, and yeah, team, we're all in momentum.
Absolutely, man. I'll just leave you guys with one thing, man. I would just encourage you to give it your all, man. If somebody would have told me, man, when I was struggling, man, I was struggling bad in this industry, man. Bad. FES is a blessing, man, because UWE, right? You actually get paid here. You get paid something. Mike Burgos, me, and Valesky was in the same company before this company, and we wasn't getting paid. I mean, imagine going 9 straight months without a commission check. Like, how do you stay in something like that? How do you continue to show up and have a good attitude? Like, most people can't really do that. For us, this was all we had, this industry. And we knew that we was going through a process. Here in UWE, you get paid every week. In my career in UWE, it was 1 week where I didn't get paid. It was 1 week where I think I was maybe a senior field trainer or a sales director. One of my homeboys cut me off. I helped him hit sales director. And I got comfortable. I got in what we call management mode, started managing them. And my check the next week, it said commissions, no commissions being held. And so I'm like, damn, I ain't even get paid this way. I gotta get back focused. But every week other than that, I got paid. And so FES, UWE can spoil you people, man. You know, I had one leader call me and he was like, man, I only made 4,000 this week. I said, only 4,000? I say, I'm gonna call you right back. I never called them back because you gotta have gratitude for what you really have here. In the time that where we at, the country is going through so many financial debacles. They need the services that we offer. It's 100 million people that got less than the 599 credit score. But what about the people that's at 640? What about the people that's at 700 that want to get to 750? And so we got an unlimited amount of people, hundreds of millions of people that could benefit from at least one of the services that we have on our platform. And I want you to be in position to override that growth, right? Get your net out there, man. Because when this growth happened in 2022, you want to get your portion of that growth for your family. And so it's the time to go to work right now to identify your leaders currently and go out to the people that you know you want in your group, recruit up, build relationships. I mean, Thanksgiving was a perfect time to connect with people. Send them the happy Thanksgiving message, seeing what they up to, and schedule a time to get them in front of the information. Christmas, same thing. Like I leverage these happy birthdays. Look on your Facebook. How many people you see every day that say happy birthday? I'm always in somebody's inbox. Hey man, happy birthday, man. I'm excited for you. What you got planned to do today? That sparks a conversation, right? I'm seeing what they up to. I'm building a relationship, and then eventually I'm gonna get him on one of these Zooms. They gonna see the information. And so I wanna encourage you to go all in. This is the holiday time where you can really find some incredible people that's out there looking, man. And so Daryl, man, thank you so much for having me, man. You got an incredible group. I mean, off to an incredible start. Came in, just smacked the company, man. Just R&R Club, vice president, six-figure earner, level 8 in the level up challenges, really leading by example, man. And we appreciate your leadership. And I've seen you grown so much, man, from the times where we used to get on the call when I remember when you first got started to where you at now, man. Keep up the great work. In 2022, man, that's going to be a year where we really take the company to a whole nother level, man. So y'all be good. I'll turn it back over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys, I think that's pretty much going to sum up the training for today. I know you guys got an immense amount of value from that. I'm going to drop the videos in the group chat as far as the videos that we're going to go over. You guys can just watch that on your own time. I know we've been on this call for over 3 hours now. So as far as the people that's still inside of the boot camp contest, this week's contest, we only got one challenge for you guys. You have to go out and recruit one agent. Simple as that. You're going to read the book as well, the chapters. I believe we're on chapters. It's going to be 3 chapters this week, actually. So instead of 2 chapters, you're going to read 3 chapters. And you simply got one challenge, recruit one agent. And from this information, if you watch the videos, I'm going to drop in the chat. That's going to be nearly impossible not to do if you actually really put forth the right initiative towards that, especially if you leverage Klarna, right? So without that further ado, we'll go ahead and end this training. Everyone enjoy their weekend. See every last one of you guys at the top.